So what are 3 things that we learned about Bulma in this episode? 1, her husband gets kinda jealous over her. 2, apparently Bulma's titties are starting to sag. And 3, she'll do something strange with an alien for a little bit of knowledge. So this episode of Dragon Ball Super, it was keeping up with the comedy, but also still slightly progressing certain aspects of the story, mainly finding out more about the Super Dragon Balls, and actually giving Bulma a pivotal role, which is interesting because, like, in the Z portion of the Dragon Ball story, things was always kept up to, like, okay, you know, the big battles, Goku, Vegeta, everybody else is irrelevant, but having little small episodes like this where you get to have side characters like Bulma, which was once a main character in Dragon Ball, have a pivotal role, that's kind of interesting, and I'm really liking how they're doing it. Again, I feel as though this feels so Toriyama-like, and even if he's not completely writing every detail, you can see that he's setting things up the way he wants it to be. This is how he wants to write Dragon Ball, how he probably would have wrote it had he not been pressured into making it more of a battle-oriented story later on down the road. A lot of this episode had Jocko, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if either after or during the run of Dragon Ball Super, they eventually animate the Jocko manga, because, I mean, we're getting the flashbacks in this episode of Little Bulma and stuff like that, so I think they're pushing towards making Jocko a little bit more popular in order to sell like an anime or something. Now, we got to see Lord Zuno in this episode, so I'm glad, even though it kind of felt a little bit slower this episode, we didn't get anything, you know, progressing majorly with the Champa stuff and things of that nature. We still got some information on the Super Dragon Balls, and at the same time, we got through the whole Lord Zuno thing all in one episode. Not only that, expanding more on the Jocko character, you can definitely see that they really want to push it, like I just previously mentioned. They really want to push Jocko, because giving him nearly an entire episode of him kind of fucking around in space and him and Bulma having some laughs, it kind of felt like retro DB. But seriously, what the fuck was up with that whole thing with Zuno and shit like that? Like, give me a kiss on the cheek and I'll tell you some info. Like, what the fuck? You don't care if you're a dude or female, you get a little bit less if you're a dude, but he don't really care. It's like the offerings is basically this dude is like some motherfucking bisexual fucking bear in a jar type of alien. Like, it's just fucking weird. But of course, typical Dragon Ball, they had to waste a couple wishes on nonsense. I think that's par for the course with Dragon Ball, like Jocko asking a dumb question and then Bulma wasting 2 of her questions. But we did get info on the Super Dragon Balls. For the most part, a lot of it we did know. Some of it was new info. For example, like Beerus thought, well, we have Super Dragon Balls in our universe too. No, it's basically 7 Dragon Balls divided amongst 2 universes. So you have probably like 3 in one universe and 4 in the other, which kind of hints a little bit more why Champa was acting weird. So it was, I guess, a little foreshadowed why he was like dipping and zipping between the universes, because he didn't want Beerus to find out exactly what he was doing, pretty much robbing his universe. And I thought it was interesting as well that they mentioned apparently the creator of the Super Dragon Balls, a dude named Zadama, I think that was his name, which again kind of conflicts with the whole thing of the Namekians, but pretty much just the Namekians stole what this guy created. And I wonder if we're ever going to meet the Zadama guy, because in a sense he is the quintessential creator of everything Dragon Ball related, like all the Dragon Balls, the Namekian, the Earth, he started it all. And I'm curious, is he Namekian? Is he something completely different? Like, I wonder if we'll ever see the Zadama guy. And Jocko getting a little action in there, kind of showing why he's the Ginga Patrol Jocko and, you know, all that stuff. So it was kind of nice seeing him actually doing something other than just like cowering like during the Freeze arc or whatever. He actually fucked that frog looking motherfucker up. And I noticed that this episode as well, like, it provided a couple different things again, like, you know, it did the whole thing of going to see Zuno, finding out the Super Dragon Balls and stuff like that. Then it had comedy, but then it also delved into something that Dragon Ball Z especially didn't really delve into, and that's again the relationship stuff, when Vegeta, for example, was kind of like jealous and saying to Jocko, don't try anything with my Bulma, and you know damn well he ain't gonna do that because Vegeta fucking shit up. So you had that, but then it also gave something that was interesting, an explanation why Goku and Vegeta really care about their wives and why they dig them so much, even though they act like assholes. Like Bulma and Chi-Chi, you know, they're pretty much, in a sense, the typical word that you would use is like, they're very bitchy. But I guess Saiyans like it like that. So who knew that the Saiyan race were pretty fucking kinky, that they want their girls to be a little bit like, you know, hostile towards them. So with all that being said, to be honest with you, okay episode. We got a little bit of information. The comedy was pretty on point with this one, but it wasn't anything spectacular. And again, it was mainly focusing on Jocko and Bulma and a little bit of info on the Super Dragon Ball. So it was alright. Honestly, I want to say maybe 6 to a 6.5 for this episode. Didn't really progress things on a major scale, but it still had a little bit of progression. And again, it was kind of a nice breath of fresh air from the typical big battles or, you know, the big scale things, getting something a little bit small. Like, honestly, I wouldn't mind an episode here and there of like that, or maybe a little side adventure of like Krillin or something like that. Like little small things like that is kind of nice for a change. But let me know what you thought about this one. First of all, what do you think about Bulma's saggy titties? Do you think they've sagged? To me, they look like they're perkier than ever, but maybe that's just me. Also, what do you think about Zuno? Do you think that he's like some OG or some shit, getting all these motherfuckers to kiss him? And what do you think about all the relationship stuff that was added into this episode? I know a lot of people, you know, they go into Dragon Ball Z, they don't really care about that, they want action and stuff like that, but did you feel as though it was good in the sense of giving giving character development and kind of more characterization to some of these people, explaining Goku and Vegeta's attraction to their wives, and your overall thoughts of the episode. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed anything about this video, make sure to drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook if you want more from me when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.